In this part 4 of how to make great lessons using Smart Notebook, we are going to focus on how to use our textbook and transfer the lessons onto Smart Notebook in order to make them more interactive. It is in this series of lessons where I'm going to put to use the various tools on the top toolbar which we had organized earlier in part 2. In many ways, it's a kind of PowerPoint presentation with the added bonus of interactivity. What you're about to see is something you can also do with any other interactive whiteboard software such as Promethean and Starboard. Once again, I'm going to show you a quick before and after show of the 9 lessons I have prepared. In this first lesson, you can see I've copied this image here, pasted it here, and also copied the letters and changed the color of the letters in order to make them more grammatically understood by the pupils. In the second lesson, I've actually used the second part of this paper here and copied the pictures onto the board so I can have them as a reference, and I've made the words a bit more colourful in order to again help the students to understand how the grammar works in English. In doing so, I have put the letters into this word splitter, which has made it easier to make all these words instead of typing them out one by one. In the third lesson, I have taken this survey from this paper and also pasted it on, but I've added certain things in order to make the text more usable so we could have a class survey and find out how many people like certain things. And here is a corresponding result. So I'll show you how that was made. In the fourth lesson, it's just a simple, quick copy and paste together with the second page of that book, which has the pictures, and I wanted the students to match the words up here with the pictures here. And I'll show you how that was done. In the next one, you can see I've used a word search picture and simply pasted it on the board, which is a great game for the children to use when they're using the highlighter pen, as you can see here. The next one I have used from the workbook here, this section number 2, and I'm using the hide shader, which I'll show you how to use. In this lesson, I have taken away the pictures which introduce a story, and I've also added an audio file, and I'll show you how to do that. So if I click here,
Unit 7, page 8.
And this is really useful because in the book here it says have them read the story and guess the meaning. But the problem is if they look at the book, they'll start to read some of the information which gives away the story. So this is a much better way of presenting that lesson. And following that, putting the words in order, I will show you how I did this in order to help them do that, and also going back to the previous lesson where we had a different way of moving the letters or the story in order. So I'm going to show you all of this in the next segment. So here we have activity 1, and I'm going to show you how I made these letters or words different colors and how I just produced this activity in a very few minutes. So we go to a fresh page and I simply have to, I'm going to make this larger because the larger you make it, the more clear the picture will be. And again, I'm going to use Windows Shift S in order to capture. And I'm going to capture this part first and Control V. And now I can move it to whatever size I like. So I'll put that there. One more thing, every time you move something, if you don't want it to be moved again, you must lock it. And the keys for locking is Control K and unlocking Control J. So we'll just lock this in place and now it won't be moved, because sometimes accidentally the students will put the pen on the icon and it will move. Now I don't want to copy these words as I'm going to put them in myself. I just want to copy this picture, and the reason I copied the instructions separately, if you see when I press Windows Shift S, if I try to copy that picture, I've got some words there and I don't want that. But with the new edition of Windows, October 2018, if you press Windows Shift S, you have this option of free form clip, and I can just simply include the dog and move my mouse until I get here, come back here, and I can Control V, or I can just put Edit Paste, and there I have the dog without the words. Now remember that whenever you paste, the order you paste it is the order they will go on top of each other. So notice that the dog goes on top of this. However, if I wanted the words to be closer to the dog, I could simply unlock this with Control J and move it to the front, order it, bring to the front. So now I can actually make it closer to the dog if I so wish. One more thing, I want this to be top to bottom, but it's gone too large on the side. What you can do is when you grab this, it is in a ratio, but if you wiggle your mouse about, you can actually free the ratio up and make it whatever size you want. So now I can have it like this if I wanted. So I'll leave it like that. Let's have a look at the other one. What does that look like? Oh, it doesn't look like that. But, you know, if I want to, I can do that. So we'll leave it like this. And again, I'm going to Control K, which is going to lock it so it doesn't move. Here. And now you can see the little icon here means it's locked. This one isn't locked, so I could move it here and then Control K, and now it's got a lock on it too. So the next thing to do is to copy these words into the box. A simple way is if you click on the black arrow on the newer version, it's the text highlighter, you can just simply highlight the words. I could do them in groups like that. Do Control C and Control V, and there you can see I have the words I need to put here. and I'll do the other ones. So Control C says there was an error there. Let's see, copy. I'll just do right click copy. Control V, another one. Right click copy. Said there was an error. Well, let's see if there was an error. Control V. No, there wasn't really an error. The next one, Control C. Make sure you just click off, and there's that. You might think, oh, why is that bigger than that one? Well, if you just pull on this corner, you can actually make them the size you want. So we can do that like that. Now you notice that they are all together and we want to separate these letters. There are two ways of doing this. The easiest way for me, if there's only a few words, it's much easier to just double click inside, highlight the text you want, and then simply hold left click down now and drag it into the open space. So there. So I highlight, let go, click left again and drag it. Double click, highlight, let go and drag it. So now I've got the words, I'm not sure what order they were meant to be in, got she's brown hair. So it's got she's brown hair. And now you can see this text is much more easier to move. Now I'm just going to do this for the rest. I'm going to pause so that you don't have to watch me doing this again. Now I've finished separating them and I actually did this higher. Remember, what you can do is, so long as you're on the select arrow, you hold the left mouse down and you drag it over the text and it will allow you to move them together. Now, one other thing which is fun, they're not in a line with each other and it takes a bit of a while to say, oh, is that even? I want it to look nice. What you can simply do is highlight them all, go to this icon and select Align Bottom. And you'll see they all aligned at the bottom. That's quite nice. So you can do that again, Align Bottom. There they are. And here, Align Bottom. And here, Align Bottom. Now, one more thing. We need to decide which color to make the words. So remember, the pronouns were going to be red, so you just click on one pronoun, hold the control button and click on another pronoun. Keep the control button down, click on the other pronouns and simply go to this arrow here and select the color you want. So we want red. So they're red. If we want, we can make them bold, but we'll leave them as they are. The next ones we want are the verbs. So let's make the verbs green. So the verbs are now green. I just noticed that has should be green, so let's make that green. And she should be red. And finally, curly hair, which we could leave black, but let's make it blue. So let's make all the nouns blue. And there you have it. So if the pupils come to the board, they can move the letters freely. One more thing, before you do that, there may be a risk that if they click on the word and they move their pen, they might accidentally make it bigger and say, oh, I can't move it. To secure the move, what you can do is, where the lock is, it says allow move or allow move and rotate. So we say allow move, and that means this one has this lock icon, but unlike this where it can't move, this one can actually move, but it can't be edited, which is great. Now in order to do that to all of them, you just simply highlight all of them, and I think it was Control Shift and V. If we look, yeah, Control Shift and V. It's good to get to know these, because once you start making lots of lessons you can just do it really quickly. So now all of them have this lock, and then you can simply move them. So for the first one, it's a question, has she got curly hair? And then the pupils can come to the board and do each one so that the rest of the class can see what has happened. An extra little tip here, because all of these are now locked, if you make a mistake, it would be very hard to change all the blue colours to, say, a purple colour. You'd have to do each one, unlock each one. But what you can do is simply go to the Edit, select all locked objects, and then simply click on one of the locks and unlock, or press Ctrl J, and now they're all unlocked again. And don't forget, the only reason these words go on top of the box is because I copied them last. If I copied this box last, it would be going on top of that, and I would have to order it and move it to the back. But as you can see, it's already at the back. However, if I bring it to the front, you can't see the words I put there. So I'll just order it to the back again. Okay, so that is the first lesson. In this second lesson, I'm going to show you how I made it a little more colourful using boxes in order to be able to use the colour yellow, because if the words are yellow, it's quite difficult to see. So here we are with my pictures on the right hand side, and I'm just going to go over to my new book, make a new page, and then make this bigger, Windows Shift S. I don't need the freeform, I'm just going to use this. And there, Control Paste. But this I only need quite small, as it's just a reference to see whether something was done or something was not done. Again, I'm going to Control K and put a lockbox on it. Next, I'm going to copy and paste this area where they need to write on. So Windows Shift S. Control V. Now, I could leave it like this, but as you can see in the other one, I did use this freeform thing where I shape my mouse and suddenly I'm allowed to make the gap between the texts a lot larger, and I can fill it to the screen, still leaving room for the words up above. Might make it a bit smaller and actually a bit wider. And again, Control K, so that doesn't move, and every object now will go on the top of that. So It's useful sometimes if you have the teacher's book, because then you find the answers and simply copy the text into the page. So here I'm going to copy the text here, and the first one is done for us, so we only need this. She goes to the studio here, so I can right click copy. Says there's an error, but I know there isn't. Now I'm just going to paste these sentences here, and I'm going to take out the words individually. I could, if I wanted to, use the text splitter. If you just go here, type in splitter, you'll end up with the splitter here, and you could simply, I'll backspace, press Ctrl V. Now it's pasted it here, but if I drag my cursor in the middle, I can simply split all the words. Unfortunately, it's a bit messy because all the words have gone on this side, but as I'm not going to use all of the words in this text, I'm not going to use this. It would take too long. So what I'm going to do is simply use only the letters once. So if there's the word she, I'm going to only use that, and I'm going to clone it in order to not use up a large amount of space with words. So she, well, there's two she's. There's a capital she, as she might begin the word, and there's a small she in case she doesn't do something. So she goes to, I just double click in each letter. So these are all doubled in there, so we don't need them. I don't need the and. So I just click out, click on it again, and press delete. If we look at the finished article, you'll see the letters are white and the background is dark on some of them. So I'm just going to show you how I did one or two of them, and then we'll fast forward to the rest. So what we do is we simply need to make a box background for each of these words. So I'll click here on the box background, and up will come a range of boxes. This one's the best. So I simply have to make the box shape and then go on the select tool, select the box shape, and make it, this one's going to be she, so it's going to be that pink color. So we're going to make that pink. But remember, we said that the last thing you do goes on the top. So all we simply have to do is order it to the back, or send backwards one place, but we'll send it to the back. Actually, we send it backwards one place, because if we send it to the back, watch what happens. It won't go on top of this box because we sent it right to the back. What we want to do is just send it back one space. So let's send it to the front again. Bring to the front. So we just want to move it back one space. So order, not send to the back, send backward. And we'll do that again. Send backward. Oh, that's going to take a while because it'll go behind some text but not others. So what we'll do is we'll send it right to the back. Send to the back. And the only thing we need it to be in front of is this text, not this one, but this one. So as you can see, it's happily behind all these. So we just need to bring it forward one space. Not bring to front, bring forward. So now it's still behind the letters. Oops, it's not behind this one. So let's bring it forward one more time. Bring forward again. And there we have it. Now it's behind all the letters, but above this one. And because it's that way, I'm going to copy it multiple times, and that way I can use it for each one. Probably an easiest way to do this is simply to clone it for a short while. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I need 20 of them. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 19, 20. Now remember, these are all free to change now to any color you want, and they're all above the text. So what we need to do is we'll highlight them all, and we'll bring them, let's see, highlight them all, order send to the back, oops, do that again, order send to the back. As you can see, they're all to the back. That's no good, so we'll click on it, order bring forward, not good enough, do it a second time, bring forward, and that's good enough. This one is the cloner because it has that key, so I'll just make that not clone anymore. And now every one of these goes behind the text. So all I'm simply going to do is move the she, they're going to be pink anyway, and the goes are going to be different color. What we do in order to make sure that the she stays with the color, once we put the box behind she, with your arrow key, you just simply highlight that, and you can see there's two boxes. If I press Control G, I will group them. So Control G groups them, and now this is the master of its own domain. And so all you need to do is simply change the color of a number of them, whichever ones you want. So let's say studio, go. Let's go for the verbs. We've got go, comes. Okay, so those are our colors we want. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want green. So simply make the boxes green. It's a bit dark, that. Oh yeah, because the words are going to be white. So we make the boxes green. But then what we can do is make the text. If we click on the text, and make the text white, and maybe even make it bold. So now the text move. We don't want that to happen, so again we want to group. Control G, that will group that word. That comes over here. Just highlight those two. Control G, that's that one, and that's how it goes on and on. So this may take a while, so I'd only do this if I was definitely going to use this again. or I was bored and I had a lot of time. So that's how we end up with these text boxes. And don't forget that once you have the text box, you do need to make sure it's locked and allowed to move. Control-Shift-V. So now it can be moved and not destroyed in any way. Okay, so that's the second lesson. Now let's move on to the third one, which is a simple survey. And as you can imagine, I'm simply going to copy and paste the picture from the workbook. So here's what I wanted to copy, but I just want to copy this area here. You'll notice I don't want the text and that. The students are going to do that themselves. So if I just check, okay, now I don't want this S being there, remember? So I can do this kind of copy where I only go around what I actually want. And in my new page, I'm going to paste. I'll just check it with the original. Yep, that's about right. And again, I'm going to lock it down. Control K. Now, you can see all I've simply done is made boxes and then cloned them. So I'll just make one to show you how it was done. Simply get a box. A rectangular one is probably better. Maybe make it to the width that it would be here. So that's a bit, maybe that's a bit tall, so we'll remember, if you shake the mouse a bit, you can actually break it free of its square, of its shape. So I can do that again, shake it a bit there. And now I can just simply clone this box, or as there's only really 5 colors, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I could just simply press Control-C, copy, Control-V, paste, Control-V, paste, Control-V, paste, Control-V, paste. And there I have the 5 boxes of the colors I want. So, and as you can see, it goes on top. So all you have to do is give each one a color. And this one's going to be yellow, and the others a different color, obviously. And simply, in order to make it cloned, you press that and press infinite cloner. So now, if we have a survey, how many people liked cartoons? There was 2, so we simply grab, and then there's 2. As you can see, that's what happens here. We have 1 likes that, and then the result was this. And with this information, the students can go back to their book and write in the text. There are so many children in our class. Most people like programs, and you can use the grammar necessary that they need to write about. So that's that done. That was a quick one. And now, so that's 1, 2, that's the third lesson. Now, in this, our fourth lesson, this is a very simple matter of copying and pasting the information in the book in a very PowerPoint type fashion. So here's our book. The confusion for the children is, oh, what should I be looking at? And instead of holding the book up pointing to it, you can simply copy the text you want them to focus on. You'll notice the instructions are larger than the actual activity. So what we'll do is we're going to use the camera here in order to copy and paste. Before I do copy and paste, I'm going to untick this, because what that will do is make every copy and paste go onto a different picture, go onto a different page rather. So we'll untick that, go back to our page here, click on that, highlight, let go, and it should copy to our page, which it did. And I can make it larger, smaller, as I see fit. And I'm going to simply capture this area, which I want to be as large as possible. So if I go back to my page, I can see that one is there, and as you can see, it's on the top because of the way things are ordered. Now I don't need the camera again, so I'm just going to move this, shake it again, make it as large as I can, press Ctrl K to lock it, it's locked, press Ctrl K to lock that, and that's as simple as that. And now the students can come up and draw on the item. Let's just move that back. You'll notice there are some pens, so let's now have a look at some of the things the pen can do. This pen will simply write, and then when you click back to the select, you can make this object smaller or larger. Or you could draw and simply click the eraser and erase this. This creative pen is for people who want to have fun. There's lots of crazy patterns you can do. There's smiley faces, but we're not looking at that at the moment. The magic pen is very good because what that can do is, if you want them to focus on a particular word, you simply circle it. So if I wanted them to focus on how juice is pronounced, I could draw a circle, and then juice would be the only thing they can see clearly. Again, with the arrow I can make it bigger, smaller. I can also use the hand and move it to other areas. So this is a very good focusing tool. It's called the magic pen, and that you need to do a circle. If you do a square, what would happen is this. I draw a square and the object just jumps out, and again, that's a way to focus the students on what you want them to see. I don't know, yeah, you can make it larger, smaller, and wow, you can even move it around. So if there was a map or something with small words on, you could simply move it about so you could help the children see better. One more thing about the magic pen, it's good for writing instructions. You don't want to be there forever. So if you just write hello, very badly, and if you wait a few seconds, you'll see it just disappear. So it's good to write instructions that you don't want to be there and you don't want to rub off yourself. Finally, there's the highlighter pen, where you can highlight certain words, but the good thing about this is you've got different colors, and we're going to see more of this later. So in order to get rid of this, you can simply clear ink, gets rid of the ink. Now what we'll do is ask the students to come up and circle the odd one out. So they could simply use the pen tool. We'll get them to use red and say, okay, fish is the odd one out here. Or they could strike out banana, egg, apple, orange. They could strike out egg and explain why. So that's lesson number 4. Part of that book is another lesson where we're trying to match up the words to the objects. And you can see there's pictures on the right and the text is on the left. So you simply have to just zoom in, focus on those pictures. I'm going to Windows Shift S, do that again. Windows Shift S. I don't want freeform, I want the square. And just copy that, put it into our new lesson. However, I was still on the pen. You can see I'm writing, so we can clear the ink. Go to the arrow select tool and simply make it smaller. Let's have a look at the other one. Yeah, the other one's smaller. So we don't need to do anything freeform with it. We'll leave it like that. But we will lock it down. So let's Control K, lock it down. Now we just need the text. So let's zoom into that text. We could just highlight all the words. There we go. Control C, copy. And we can paste it here. And they're all here. And I would have to double click them and separate them. Maybe an easier way would be to use that tool previously, the text splitter. So what I'll do is I'll just delete all of this. Okay, I'll just need to copy again. Says the problem, but there isn't. Let's just, there's my text. And there I've dragged it into the page. Now I simply want to split the words. So I press split and they're all split for me. And then we'll just highlight them all, Control copy, go back to our page, paste again, get rid of this, and move them all to the right hand side. So there we have our icons, or words to put over the logos. But you notice doing it this way, it's like, oh no, they can't see it clearly. It means I'm going to have to make those boxes behind it, which take forever. But a quick way to do this would be simply to use this camera, and all you do is press the camera, go here, and there you have, it's just copied it but with a white background. So now I can put chocolate here. So what you can do is just do the same for all the other texts. Okay, and then another one, and another one, and another one. We'll just do a few. And now we have the same text but in a much better format, where we can actually have the students come and put the words onto the board and you'll be able to see them clearly. So now we can get rid of these, just highlight them, press delete, and they're gone. So cola, okay, cola's here, potato, potatoes are there, butter is somewhere here, chocolate is here, onion is probably here. So that's lesson number 5. Let's look quickly at this game where you can have 4 teams, because remember, when you do the highlighter, there are actually 4 colors. And on your board, this will be actually a lot wider. For instance, let me just, and you'll be able to see all the colors all the time. So if we click there, you can just simply use the colors as you wish. So what we'll do is we'll go to our new page. Here's our book with the with the actual page we want. We're going to create a new lesson, and we simply, well, let's use the camera this time. We'll go here and we'll use the camera, and it'll paste it automatically in. Don't need the camera now. And we'll make it as large as we like. Maybe a bit smaller, because if the kids are small, they won't be able to reach the top. And lock it down. Control K, locked. And you simply can have, let's move that out again. And you can simply have 4 teams. So one team could come up and draw on the board and say, okay, can you see, you get 1 point for each letter. So the yellow team would get juice. Next, the green team, they would get fish, they would get 4 points. The blue team, they could get soup, they'd get 4 points. And the red team might get cheese, so they would get 6 points. A very quick, simple way to make a word search a bit more fun with interactive whiteboard. In this, our 7th lesson, it's a very quick game that we've made. The students have to guess where these words will go in the text below. So normally I would print the page and they would write it and fill it. But in this way, we can just simply get them to look at the words on the board and try to remember all the words. I've used this shader, which is here. So all you do, once you've copied, you just put the shade on and you lower the shade and they focus on this only. Try to remember those words. Then as you drag the shade up and keep dragging it up, you can now reveal only the text where they need to put the words and not the actual words. So now they have to use their memory to see onions are a type of, oh, what was the word above? And hopefully they'll remember bread and something always goes together. Butter. And you could have it as a quick test where they write down the answers on a blank sheet of paper. To do this, we go to our textbook and do the Windows S Shift button, paste it, get a new window, Control V, and you can just leave it as it is. It's fine there. Just make sure you lock it. So we're going to go to our select tool, select it, Control K, it's locked down, and then press our show hide shade. And simply you'll just leave it like that and press save, and that will save it. And the next time you open up, next time you jump to it, it's there. And then you can play the game, and then they have to answer the questions. A very quick, easy interactive game made in 2 minutes. In this lesson, the students are told to focus on these 2 pictures to try and imagine what the story is about. Now, they've been told to focus on this area first while they look at the books and answer these questions. However, they may choose to read this information and then just say, oh, the book is about this. So sometimes books aren't that helpful and we need a more PowerPoint type presentation look. So what I created was this, where I copied over this area here, locked it down, and did the same for these 2 books. Simply copied and paste, and then I added the audio here. So you press the audio.
Unit 7.
And then they can try to imagine what they heard and feedback to each other. What did you hear? What do you think the story is about? And feedback to the teacher without even opening their book. So it's a great introduction to this kind of story. I'll just quickly show you how it was done. This is how quick this thing can be done. I'm just going to get rid of this. So again, I Windows Shift S, quickly Control Paste. It's a bit large, so we just make it a bit smaller, like that. Control K, lock it down. And then we need the two pictures, so I just, again, Windows Control S, paste it. Go back, Windows Control S. And paste that. So let's have a look at the original. Oh, so it was like that. Okay. So I'll just put those two pictures there, nice and large, so they can see. And also just highlighting both, Control K, lock them down. So now we need to add audio. So what we need to do is get a little picture of an icon of an audio, and that would help. So what we need to do is find an icon of an audio. You could simply go onto the web and say audio icon, and choose one of these. So if we go to images, okay, some of them are quite nice. Not going to dilly-dally too long. Let's choose this blue one. So we'll just Windows Shift S. I'm going to copy that and paste it here. So what you can do is actually add an audio sound to it. So we're going to Sound. And here you can add the sound, so you can browse for the actual, here I've already got it prepared for the MP3 track and it's locked in. So how to play the sound with a corner icon and or an object where they click on the object. So you could click this corner icon, attach sound, and you can see there's a corner icon here. And so if I was to lock this down, Control K, the hand tool is there.
Unit 7.
But to be honest, I'm going to Control J, unlock it, go to the sound. I would actually prefer if it was the whole object. So I'm just going to attach sound. And now I'll Control K, lock it down.
Page 80. Exercises 2 and 4. Amelia's diary.
So now, if I click it, it pauses. So I click it again.
1845.
She'll carry on. It's great for pausing and starting. If I want to go back to the beginning, I have to actually change the page, go back to the page and...
Unit 7. Page 80.
And so you can see it starts again. And that's a very quick way just to make an introduction to a story. So I'm going to save that. Now for the next part in the book, they're asking us to order the story. And yes, we could write the numbers in, it's very easy, but it's maybe nicer if we can make it a bit more interactive. So I simply copy and pasted all of those images, and then what I did was to copy and paste the individual images, and so now they can move it and copy. So as you've seen before, we simply go to the book, copy that section, make a new lesson, Control V, there it is. And what I want to do, I don't want to actually use this page, I will lock it down though. I want to put this text on the next page. So there's the new page. And all I'm going to do is use the camera. So I'm going to use the camera and I'm going to click this and it will highlight this text and it will save that, move that down, do another one, saves that, and now you just simply copy that, Control C, copy, paste it here, and you can ask the students to organize them in 1, 2, 3 order. You could simply, you can make these smaller if you wish. They might be a bit too big. And then simply put the numbers down below. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember to go back to the highlighter if you want to edit these numbers. Maybe you want to make them smaller to 20 and just say OK, and you can put these anywhere on the bottom. Remember, you can highlight them all and use this little aligner, which is great. And then you can ask them, once again, we'll Control K, lock them down, and then the people or the students can just move them into the text area they think the order is. Another way to do it is to use this sentence arranger, which I'd shown in the part 3 lesson of how to use the interactive tools within Smart Notebook. So we can quickly do this, and you can see I can check the answers, I can solve the answers, and I can reset. And if I check, you can actually move them to see if you get it correct. And then maybe that was 3rd. Now, let's go to the new page and do this. Very quickly, we go to the Lesson Activity Toolkit and go to the Activities, click on it again, and go to the Sentence Arranger. Drag in the Sentence Arranger, and you simply have to write in the text correctly. So we could go to our book. I'm not sure if the text is available to be copied. Let's have a look. Yes, Emma's baby was born. Copy, Control C, go back here, Control Paste, and if that was the first thing that happened, we'd put that there. And then the next one, item, you do that. So you'd basically have it in order so that when you press OK, it's all, you can reset it a number of times and you can see only one is in the right order and you can solve it again. So that's one way to do that previous activity to make it a bit more interactive.